Alright everybody, this is Eternal Blade here and welcome back to part 2 of the Powered Droid tutorial. So this is the result that we're going to have at the end of this section of the tutorial. We're just going to add some additional details on here, clean up the base model. I actually made a mistake and everything was too wide because my reference images were a bit messed up, but just beware of that. Make sure your reference images, you reverse the numbers that I used initially. So you can see we're just adding some additional details here and working on the overall appearance. So with that said, happy modeling. So to begin part 2 here, let's go ahead and unhide everything. That way we have our blueprints again. And what we're going to be doing here is just trying to add some of the external details to this scene. So let's just start off with, I guess, something easy, or easier, which is going to be this little piece right here. It's like an E shape. So it should be pretty simple if we just do a box. Let's blow this up here and just make our box just the size of the E. Alright, and you can give it a little thickness. We'll edit the thickness here in a bit. Convert that box to an editable poly here. Let's go ahead and make sure we can actually see the box, just so we can see it in this viewport here. And let's press Alt-X so we can actually see through it. And now let's do a connect. And let's connect and pinch it or slide it just to right about there. Alright. We'll do a connection here with 4. Alright. And we can slide them sort of down and maybe pinch them in a little bit. Alright. I'll go ahead and edit these just so they match up with the image here. Alright. And that's just perfect. Okay. So next what we need to do is also add some additional geometry over here. So we're going to connect this with 2 segments. Slide it a little bit. Alright, and let's pinch it out a bit more. Something like that. And we also need to add a segment here, so we can connect 1 segment and just slide it until it matches the bottom of our image, right about here. Alright, so now what we've got is some good geometry to work with. So let's go ahead and isolate the selection and go into our perspective viewport and turn off Alt-X there. So the primary thing we need to do is just go ahead and delete these, and this. So this will give us our main E shape here. And we can actually go ahead and delete the entire back of this mesh. Oops. And the reason we can do that is you're never actually going to see it. So it just saves us from doing extra work that we don't need or want to do. Right, so this is kind of what we've got. Now what we need to do is go ahead and grab all of our edges here, like this, and these, and these, alright, and then we just need to extrude them by holding shift and just dragging them up, just like that. Alright, now grab all your vertices here with pressing Ctrl A and weld them. And just bring the tolerance up until you see that you have basically 6 less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and there we go. Now we've got a nice little shape here. What we also need to do here is add a bit of a chamfer to it. So, just trying to think of the best way to do this. Let's loop. That's not going to work, of course not. So we're going to just go ahead and press Q, and we'll just go ahead and select all of these external edges here. Sometimes the loop will work, sometimes it won't. Alright, something like this. Alright, excellent. And then let's get all of the corners as well, because those will need to have some chamfering so they don't look super sharp in our final renders. Alright, actually maybe well, I don't want to ring those because we'll probably ring everything else we've selected, which will go poorly. Let me assure you of that. Alright, there we go. So let's just do a chamfer here and give it a relatively small chamfer, maybe 0.25. And 0.5. 0.5 works nicely. Alright, and now just apply Turbo Smooth just to see how it looks. Give it 2 iterations and turn off that. So it should look quite nice, and it does. Alright. So let's go ahead and end isolation mode here. And we also need to build the little box on top. So coming in here, let's go ahead and just make a box. And we'll just fill in this area right here. Okay, something like that should work. Let's find the box in perspective here. Oh, it's somewhere inside of our droid. Alright, and go ahead and convert it to an editable poly. Delete the back there. Press Control A, chamfer, and give it a chamfer of about 0.5. So the same as we did for the first one. Alright, and we'll actually turn off all turbo smoothing. We'll just delete the turbo smooth for now. Alright, and let's go ahead and do we want to position this yet? Let me think about this. Let's just go here and we edit these so that they're exactly the same height, just to keep everything clean. And actually, we did that chamfer a bit wrong on this one. You'll see we have multiple lines there, so let's undo that. Alright, there we go. So grab all your edges with the exception of the back edges there. Then chamfer it at 0.5. Now we can bring it back and align it. So it's just little things like that that you need to watch out for, just to make sure that everything works. Alright. I just deleted the turbo smooth over there just because we don't need it for now. Alright. There we go. So now that we have those two things, let's just go ahead and, oh, we can leave them there for now. Let's model these little bits so we can basically reuse the first mesh that we made over here. So let's just drag it over. Okay, something like that. And just align it. And let's adjust these just to where they're about the same size. Alright. Holding Shift, just drag over, and we need 3 copies. And you can see they're a little bit off, so just edit them like so. Now this looks like some sort of a cylinder here, so we're just going to go ahead and model a cylinder just like that. Press E and shift drag it 90 degrees, Control Alt Q, press 1, and I know you can't see it, so let's go ahead and drag it out. We should probably actually really move this blueprint back to about there is ideal. Yeah, we'll have to shift our little droid here. Alright, and we'll just hide the droid for now though. Okay, so we have got our little thing here. Let's go ahead and not make it an editable poly though. So still make it a cylinder. And now let's redo everything we just did because we took the long way around. Well, first let's just drag this into position. Okay, drag this back. And then we can hide this. Alright, so now with this, let's delete all the height segments there. And 18 sides is more than enough, I'm sure. So let's go ahead and convert that to an editable poly. And let's just align these according to the picture there. Something like that should work. And let's go ahead and align them in this view as well. So this is sort of running through the power here. Something like that, kind of halfway up. Should work. And then what we can do is let's actually go ahead and delete all of that geometry with the exception of the end. Alright, and delete it. And we can come in here and cut. We're going to want to cut from there to down here. Okay, and then delete this section. Come on, delete. And then go to the other side. Alright, and do the same thing. So we're going to make a cut from here down to here. Alright, and then delete that section. We do have a little issue there, I don't know what that was about. And then let's go ahead and grab the edges of both of these ends here. So let's control click edge and deselect the inner edge. We're going to chamfer that about, actually, yeah, we'll chamfer that about 0.25. Just like that. Alright, and now that's ready to be put onto our droid. So the other thing we have here is this sort of, what do they call it? Heavy power plug-in sockets. So let's see if we can find some references to what those look like. So you can see them there, as well as up here. So they're just sort of little cylinders. This one looks like it has a sort of a box around it. So we're going to see what we can do with that. So back on our left view, let's go ahead and copy our chamfered box that we already created here. And let's edit the size accordingly. So we'll just drag it up. Drag it out like this. Okay. And let's make a copy of that box. Just shift drag down. And then we're going to align it to the inner sides of whatever this thing is. Okay, and drag this one like so. And now what we need to do is go into our perspective view here for a second. And let's drag this one down a bit, just so it creates a little gap, sort of. Alright, now let's just go ahead and we can move these out of the way just for a little bit. Let's see what these are. So basically like little covers with caps or something. So I think a cylinder here will be our best bet to start off with. I'm not sure if it's stretched. I think these are supposed to be perfectly cylindrical, so I'm going to model them as such. Because all the other images look like they're perfectly cylindrical. Oh, that's kind of weird. Oh, I didn't finish creating my shape, that's why. Alright, so we'll just drag it out like that. And these aren't particularly tall. So we're just going to go ahead and stick with 18 sides for now, convert to an editable poly. Let's go ahead and delete the back there. Grab the front, and we're just going to bring it down a bit like this, and let's do some beveling. So kind of give it a really small bevel there. Let's give it an inset, kind of like that. Okay. Let's bevel this inward a bit, and then we can extrude it. I'm just trying to follow this reference image as I'm going along, looking kind of up here. Okay. And let's go ahead and bevel this a little bit more. Now it looks like we have sort of a cut here, so let's go ahead and take our selection and cut from, seems to be a bit more than half, so we're going to go from here to here. Okay, and grab this piece of geometry using your selection. We're going to inset it just a bit. Something like that should work. Again, just looking over here and kind of seeing. We can bevel this out a bit. Okay. Something like that should do. And let's just to add a bit of visual interest. It looks like there's something here, but I don't see it on any of the images. That one definitely doesn't have it. See, they're all just a little bit different. Alright, looks like a little button you can push maybe to open it. So we're going to go ahead and add a cylinder using auto grid. We're just going to add it as close to the middle as we can here. So let's just first make our little button. Press W, and we can try and think of how we can align it so it's perfect. But it actually looks pretty good to me. So let's just go ahead and 18 segments is again fine for this one. Convert it to an editable poly. Go ahead and delete the back face there. We'll just go ahead and bevel the front here just to make it a little button-like. So just like that, a little button. Alright, and then we're also going to loop this. Sorry, we're going to ring that. Connect, and we're just going to slide one of the connections up a little bit, just like that. Okay, and we'll sync that in just so it's like a little button you can push on the droid. Alright, perfect. And then let's go ahead and just group these real quick. So shift drag them down to about here. Okay. And press E. Let's rotate them 180 degrees here. And maybe drag it up a little bit. Now let's move these two bits back into where they should be. Grab our two pieces we made here and bring them out. Okay, so you can see in perspective kind of what we're doing. Just giving them a little bit of space there. Alright, and that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and unhide everything. And let's hide our two reference images there. Let's just start placing these on our droid. So we're just going to drag these over. I know we're going to have to rotate these, so let's just try our best here. So press A to get rid of angle snap. And then let's just go into our different views here. Let's see what we can do. Okay. And so these droids do curve inward as well, so we have to take that into account. And just maybe bring it in a little bit more. It's not looking too bad. Just making some fine adjustments here to try to even out everything. Okay, I can work with that. So it's not perfectly straight, but then again our droid isn't perfectly flat on the sides either, it kind of bows inward. So I think that should be enough for what we want. Because again, nothing is ever perfect, so by ours not being perfect, we're actually getting closer to what it should look like. Now we can come in here and let's go ahead and position this. So you can sink it in a little bit. Just make sure both sides are covered. Okay, something like that looks pretty good. Let's grab these little bits and move them in. Okay. And they can probably, I don't know if they need to rotate. I think they're probably good not rotating. But we do need to be able to see our little cylinder there, so something like that. Alright, so there we go. Now I've got some additional elements on our power droid. So let's just press Control A. We're just going to give these your standard gray material here for the viewport, just so we can see them a little better. Maybe just take some of the iterations down there. There we go. Just so we can see things a little bit better. Alright, excellent. So I'm just looking at my reference image here on the other side. Let's go ahead and make some of these weird little segment things in the middle. So let's unhide all. Alright, and we'll just go into our views here, and let's go ahead and just hide, or let's actually save this as Droid 02. Okay, and let's hide our selection here. And now let's go ahead and make a box about like this. Okay, it can go pretty deep and long. Okay, convert it to an editable poly, and let's just move it into the middle like that. Alright, now let's unhide everything, and let's get this size to be right. So basically, it's sort of like an articulating little joint in there or something. I don't know. It can't really flex because it has this, but it's protecting some radioactive, what do they call it? An internal fusion generator. So let's go into the top mode here, and let's just change that to shaded so we can see what we're doing, and edit it to about there. Okay, that should work pretty nicely. Maybe bring it back just a bit. Alright, now what we need to do is ring those, and actually let's just isolate this little bit here. Alright, so with our edges, let's go ahead and connect and give them about, let's see, I have that one I can move in, that one I can move in, that one I can move in, that one I can move in. So 9 segments should do it. Now let's select, starting with basically want to select every other one like this. Let's loop them. Control click the vertices here, press R, and just scale the vertices in, kind of like that. Okay, gives us kind of this shape right here. Now control click your, now just get your lines again. Let's go ahead and chamfer these with sort of a smallish chamfer. Now grab all your other lines, okay, and go ahead and loop those and chamfer them. Looks like the outer edge here doesn't want to select, so go ahead and grab that selection. Alright, perfect. And then let's also, let's see, are these going to loop and then ring? Yes, they are. Let's chamfer these as well. Maybe give it a bit of a bigger chamfer. Alright, then go ahead and you can delete that side. Actually, let's grow that and delete, and then grow this and delete. I was trying to look for the delete button on the keyboard, didn't work very well. Alright, so that kind of gives us this shape. Now let's go ahead and add a turbo smooth. Alright, with one iteration looks pretty good. With two it looks even better. What about with three? I'm going to say that's going to do good. So unhide all, or end isolation mode I guess, and now you can see we've got our little segments in there, so we can just align it until we find sort of position we like. I like it right there where I can see those two in the middle. Right now what we can do is simply grab this, and I'm just grabbing the vertices in the bottom there, go into my left hand view, and we're just going to drag these down, just like that. Okay? So, if we go into perspective, you can see this is what we get. So very nice. We've now got a little, I think it's actually called like Gork, but Gork. I think that's the name of the droid, is Gork. Actually, I completely forgot. Let's see, power droids. What are they called? They're called Gonk. Gonk. Gonk Gonk. So, let's go ahead and, yeah, that was just a random tangent. Make that our nice color there. Now you can see the sides are different. Like this side has this little piece, but it doesn't have these power plugins. So we're gonna take a look at some of our references and see if we can see the other side of the droid. So they don't really show much, just some other little bits and bobs. Alright, so we're just going to, let's see. Thinking we can copy some of this stuff. So like this, I think we should copy onto the other side. Okay, and we're going to make that an instance. Alright, and flip it. Let's go ahead and just hide these for a while. Alright, and let's just drag these in. So they're about the same as what we have there, so pretty skinny in the front. Alright, perfect. And let's go ahead and maybe drag these bits as well. Okay, drag them, instance, give them a good flip, and push them back right where they should be. Alright, so not that far, kind of right about there, seems good. So you can see our little power droids coming along pretty good here. Let's start adding some of the front details. So you can see we've got some little knobs and such, and I don't know what they are. Manipulator arm behind the panel. So let's unhide all. Go to our front view here, and let's just model these bits. So these are actually 5 little boxes, so we're just going to model one of them here. All right, give it some depth. Where to go? And let's go ahead, convert to an editable poly. Delete the back-facing polygon there. Grab all of the front edges, chamfer, and maybe give it a chamfer of 0.25. It seems to be about right. And shift drag. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so there's our 5. And did we actually chamfer that? No, we didn't chamfer that, so undo that. I don't know why the chamfer didn't work. There we go, now it worked. So now shift drag down our 5. Okay, and then for our box, we'll just go ahead and create a new one here. So make a box. Okay, give it some thickness. Convert it to an editable poly here, and let's go ahead and just delete the back polygon there. Grab the front, you press Alt-X just so we can see what we're doing and connect it. That's actually pretty close, so just bring it up. Okay, grab this one, connect, and slide it into position. So go ahead and delete all of these polygons. Press Alt-X to bring the visibility back. Grab this and this, shift drag down until it's about even, and grab that corner and that corner, weld, and just weld those up. All right, so now what we need to do is just grab these polygons, press ring, or these edges, and all the top edges here. And we're just going to go ahead and give it the same chamfer we gave the other one. Well, actually, maybe we'll give this 1.5. Not quite the same. All right, perfect. There we go. We've also got a little power arm thing. So let's build a cylinder here. And just like this. All right. Oh, sorry, we're in the wrong viewport here. We need to build it over here. Doesn't honestly matter, but all right, there we go. 18 is fine. Height segments of 1 are what we want, and this is definitely not an oval. So I know this is a circle from the other picture. I don't know why it's. I must have scaled it at some point or did something, because this whole droid looks fat, really, really fat. So I think we're gonna have to be doing some adjustments here. And in fact, let's figure out why the droid is fat right now. So going into this picture, we have 980 by 1135. Aha. 1135 by 980 gives us the appropriate thickness for Yawn Power Droid. So let's go in here to our editable poly, and this one's wrong too. So 1135 by 980. There we go. Now our power droid's gonna look more like what it should look like. I knew something was messed up. I couldn't quite place it though. Let's just go ahead and fix our geometry here. Shouldn't take but a couple seconds. So just grab that and grab that. Okay. What do we want to grab now? Grab these and maybe drag them down. All right, grab these and drag them down. And drag this over. Okay. We'll drag that over a little bit. Maybe drag it up. And we'll drag these down a bit. Maybe bring these over just, well, they're probably fine where they are. Maybe over just a tad. There we go. Now, looking at our droid, our symmetry is a bit off, so let's see, that's that one, this is this one. So we need to change this one here. Alright, and just shrink it in like that. Aha! Now we have a nice looking power droid. And then go to the other symmetry here, and wait, what did we do? We moved the wrong symmetry. These ones only connect down here. Okay. And this one connects over here. So that's still good. Okay. Now we have our droid, which is a bit more I knew it was weird. It just didn't look right. But we're good now. So let's move our stuff here back into position. But I mean, that's half the battle, is just understanding what went wrong and trying to fix it. just go ahead and do a bit of editing here. Okay, and then let's just grab these, bring them out, and rotate them till they're about flat. Something like that. Okay, and position this. Alright, drag these down, and drag this down. This does sort of change all of our little elements that we just created, which does kind of suck, but at the same time, I'd rather have a droid that looked right than was completely wrong. Okay, sink this back in, and right to about the middle there, and then we can rotate. Something like that. Maybe rotate a bit that way. Bring it up. And maybe up a little more. And rotate a bit more. Alright, there we go. Looks good for that. So let's just select these bits here. And move them into position. So let's just group them. Okay, Alt X. Come over to here. And I guess we can just scale them down like such. And then there they go. They fit nicely right there. Let me actually grab that and hide it, because I think these may need to be a bit longer. Okay. Just like that. Go ahead and delete the ones on the other side. We'll make those again in a second here. This just goes to show you, if you make one little mistake in the beginning, it can cost you quite a bit of time in the end, but it's a good lesson to learn. Everyone does need to understand that it can happen, even to me. Alright, maybe we're just going to rotate this a little bit that way. There we go, that looks pretty good. Next, let's go ahead and edit this piece, I guess. So hide selection again. Delete the ones on the other side. And let's grab these and try to rotate them to at least sort of flat and sort of straight. Alright, and let's just position them down here, and then we'll edit them from here. So, first things first, these definitely need to come way in to about here. Alright, these will come up. These will all come up. And the top will move a bit. Okay. These will shift up as well. This will come to about here. And then these ones will move up just a tiny bit. Right now for this piece, it'll move up, and actually I guess we have to edit this direction as well. So move that over here, and this one over to here. Alright, and grab this and position it. Alright, so that's actually pretty close. Press 1 on the keyboard and just drag these over using the move tool, the W key. And there we go. So unhide all. Let's go ahead and grab these two and position them again. Alright. Drag them out a bit. They are pretty skinny though, so press E and rotate them sort of in down. Alright, that looks pretty close. Alright, and let's go into the front viewport here and just adjust these as necessary. So maybe just bump up the radius there, grab this guy and redo him. Alright. So I really hope you guys have watched this maybe once through before you did the model, or if not, you're going to be doing all of these same things I did. But if you do have to do it, just know that you're not alone. You are not alone. Alright, we're just going to edit those. And bring them down. There we go. Now we're back to where we were 15 minutes ago, which is attempting to model this little bulb plug thing. So I don't see on the images, let's see if I can see one that has it. This one sort of has a little eye thing. I don't know why it doesn't want to show me. That's weird. I can go over to the left but not to the right. Well, there we go. So it looks like it's got some little screws and such, so we'll try our best. So let's go ahead and convert that to an editable poly. And let's actually save this here. Alright, and just go ahead and delete the back. Let's drag that back a little bit. Right to about here should be good. And let's go ahead and control click the edge, chamfer, and give it a chamfer of about 0.25, so pretty small chamfer. And 0.25 works. I want that to be a pretty harsh edge. And then let's go ahead and let's see what sort of geometry. Let's isolate the selection here. And we want to do some cuts here. What cuts do we want to do though is the question. We want to cut from here sort of to here, and here to here, and no, is that what we want to do? Maybe not. Think about this. What I want to do actually is inset this about that much. Grab this, ring, connect, okay, and then let's go ahead and select every other point. I'm just trying to think of if this will work or not. We'll see it if it does. Okay, let's go ahead and chamfer these points out like so. Control click the polygons. Okay, and shrink them. So we just have those selected. And let's go ahead and extrude them backwards. Okay. And then delete their edges there. Now we need to select the left-hand viewport here. Select all the edges that we have. Okay, so we have all the edges selected there. We're going to chamfer these a little bit more. Something like that to give us little circles. And then let's go ahead and apply Turbo Smooth and see what it does. I think it's going to be unhappy. Yes, it is. Okay. So we also need to grab those same edges, connect. Let's just slide a connection right up there near the top. Alright, and then we need to grab the top edges here on all of these. make your way around. And you can do as many of these as you want, or as few as you want, so let's loop those, chamfer, and give it a chamfer of about like 0.1. Okay, and let's try turbo smooth again. So now you can see what we basically have is a nice little plate with some holes in it. The geometry is actually pretty clean as well. Alright, now we don't really even need, I don't even know why we did that, honestly. Since we're just going to make other geometry that goes on top of it. Why did we do that? Well, sometimes I'll never know. Maybe you want the bolts to come out. Let's go to a cylinder here, and just using auto grid, let's create a little cylinder. And I guess since we made it, might as well position it in there. Alright, so stick it in there. Let's go into the front viewport here. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it'll do. 0.75 should be about what we're asking for here. Alright. And let's go ahead and bring this back. And then let's maybe give it like 8 sides, something pretty small. Convert it to an editable poly. Delete the back. Alright, and for the front, let's do some beveling here. So sort of bevel it out a bit. Out a bit more, kind of come up with it. In and in. So we kind of make like a little bolt head there. And if we turbo smooth that, you'll see we have a nice little sort of mushroom rivet there. So in the front view, just come in here. You can press F3 if you want, and just align it to all of our holes. Okay, you could use an array tool for this as well, but I always like hand placing, just because it gives us that extra little sense of realism. I mean, nothing is perfect. That's always my motto. All right. I should probably make these instances as well, but oh, they are instances. Good deal. All right, perfect. There we go. Now we've got some little bits and bobs there. Let's unhide all. Let's go ahead and debating how I should do what this eye thing actually looks like. So let's go back here into our editable poly that we've got going on, and Alt X on the front viewport. Alright, let's inset this main polygon face here. Inset it to about the width of that eye. Okay. Go into your perspective and bevel a little bit here. Okay, and then looks like it just sort of comes out. So it kind of comes out a little bit. Okay, and then sort of sinks in like that. And we're going to have an inset here. Kind of come back out and come back out some more. And maybe we're just going to go back, and then we can go ahead and delete that. So that's kind of what we have, this little shape right here. And right inside there, we're just going to put a sphere. So just make a little sphere, not a big sphere. I don't know where we're making a sphere. Let's just go here, make our sphere, move it in there, and position it to where it's actually sort of in the little ball thing, and you can rotate that. Press A for angle step, rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, perfect. And obviously this needs to be a bit bigger. So let's just make it a bit bigger. And then drag it in a bit. Something like that. We'll give it a nice little eye it can look out. And I think these are generally a bit flatter. Since it's a lens, it's not perfect. So we'll just do that and sort of drag it into position there. There we go. So that'll be our little lens that we can use. And maybe we're just going to back it up just a bit there, just so it has some room where you would think it'd be able to move or something. Alright, so let's go ahead and hide the selection here. We're going to save that and hide that. And let's go and perform some symmetry here, just so we can get all the sides to look pretty nice. Alright, that looks pretty good. We're going to give it one of these as well. Alright, just like, ooh, where'd it go? Wait, we lost it. There it is. It's sort of floating off into space. I don't know why that is. Maybe something got messed up earlier. Alright. Well, it's like Bob Ross says, you know, happy accidents. It's just a happy accident. Alright, perfect. That should work nicely for us. And now let's go ahead and just sync these in. So let's actually do these one at a time, I guess. Or one bunch at a time. So these can sort of go in. And I guess, are they on that side of the droid? Just how my reference images I'm checking out over here. So these are showing it as being on... Power is on that side like that. So these are actually swapped. Let's go ahead and mirror those. Okay, let's group and then mirror. Yes. So we actually had it backwards. Group, mirror. There we go. Now we're sort of spot on. And these need to go sort of right here. A little more over. Alright, that should do. So back to our perspective. And those look good. Let's position this guy. Oh, we can ungroup all these. And ungroup all these. There we go. Alright, let's get this guy in here. And he obviously needs to be rotated a little bit. Alright, looks pretty good to me. And maybe grab these and rotate them just a bit. Maybe move them in a bit more. Right, grab your eye and move it in and rotate. And bring it in a bit more. Something like that. And I think if we go to Edit Poly here, I want to actually add another loop here. Chamfer it and give it a really small chamfer, just so that edge is nice and hard there. Right, I kind of like that look a bit more. So select everything and let's just make it a gray color there. Alright, so you can see the details are starting to come out in our power droid. So I'm going to say, actually let's end isolation mode and unhide all. Ah, crap. Well, that sucks. We have deleted our little Oh, there it is. We didn't delete it. So let's make this thing the right height. So vertex, just grab these and unhide all. And it goes right to about there. And is that still good? Yep, there we go. Alright. So let's hide the selection here. Alright, so here we go. This will be the end of this part, so we're just putting in some details. So I will see you guys next time.